Have you ever made a mountain out of a molehill? Well, Krishna consciousness actually means to make a molehill out of a mountain. There are many, many times when devotees would have big problems and Prabhupada would reduce those mountains to molehills. Like, no, it's not a problem, it's just a little thing. And he would shift us around and spin us around, and we would realize what we thought was the biggest Mount Everest obstacle in the universe now is a piece of dust. And that's what a sadhu is meant to do. But not only is a sadhu meant to do that, we're meant to do that with ourselves. In my work of helping devotees, especially counseling devotees, it's quite common that devotees think their problems are way bigger than they actually are. And sometimes I'm amazed that they even think something is a problem. And of course, I don't tell them that because I don't want to make them feel bad. But sometimes I'm thinking in my mind, I'm trying to even understand, how is this actually a problem? Like what kind of mind would actually see this as a problem? What kind of mind would actually want to focus on this? It's such an insignificant thing. But by focusing on it, it can have so many horrific effects on your consciousness, on your life, etc. And now you're just absorbed in thinking about something that is not even real. It doesn't even exist. It's just existing only in your imagination. Have you been there before? Or have you seen that with someone else? In thinking about this and meditating on this, I began to think, actually, Krishna consciousness is just the opposite. We're supposed to take these mountains of material problems, these mountains of stress and anxiety and worry and whatever, and as Bhagavatam says, it just becomes like from an ocean to a little puddle of water that you'd find in a calf's footprint, which is probably like this much water, probably like a quarter of a cup of water. So the whole material world, this ocean of problems or mountain of problems, shrinks. Why? By the mercy of Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Charitamrita says difficult things become easy. Mountains become dust. And if you're not Krishna conscious, then dust becomes mountains. So really, it is our duty to ourself, our compassion to ourself, to learn how and to understand this is what we're supposed to do, to take mountains and turn them into dust. Just an idea to float around your consciousness, to put things in perspective. Even in this material world, some of the biggest problems we've had for most of us, if you think back, like what was your biggest problem a year ago today? Can you even remember? How about 6 years ago today? Can you even remember? Probably not. I'm not saying you haven't had problems in your life. But those mountain problems, most of them, you can't even remember what they are. But at the moment, they were like huge problems. And now it's just dust. It's nothing. You look back and go, oh, I was just stupid, or that it's not really a problem. Of course, I'm saying not always. There are exceptions. Some of us have been hurt. There's no question. Some of us have been through very traumatic experiences. But I'm talking about experiences that are not really traumatic, that we make traumatic, that we transform the dust into the mountains. What to speak of when you go back to Godhead and you remember this material existence, this life? No, you're not going to remember this life. Put all the lives together and it's like, oh, was I somewhere else? It's nothing. You will go back to the spiritual world and there'll be like a few second recollection that, was I somewhere else? Did I fall asleep for a minute? That kind of experience. You know, like you nod out and you're not really sure. Did I nod out? I was reading. I can't remember. Your whole material existence is going to be less than dust when you go back to the spiritual world. So I just wanted to suggest that really the service, the consciousness, the mentality, the mood, however you want to describe it, of a devotee is to take all these mountains of so-called problems in this world and reduce them to dust through Krishna consciousness, through advancement in Krishna consciousness. And you'll realize, as you advance in Krishna consciousness, that really there is no problem. The only problem, as we said in other videos, is us. Other than us, there's no problem. And if we can learn to turn mountains into molehills, which we should be, that's our job, then, as Prabhupada would often say, what is the difficulty? Prabhupada was expert at reducing mountains to molehills. We should follow in his footsteps.